Right, I thought I'd just give you a quick update on how my panel's looking. I'm sorry if the audio quality isn't too good. I'm filming with my phone because my panel is across the other side of the room from where my PC and cameras are. But you can see that I haven't filmed this part because it's simply a case of laying the panel on, drilling 4mm holes through and putting M4 bolts in. And obviously painting them. So I've just got it rigged up to this temporary stand. I've got those annunciators fitted. The damper gauge is just going to be a dummy. I'm not going to make that working at this stage. These annunciators, I'm waiting for some LEDs to turn up because I ran out of yellow. The gear lever is from Carl Clark, but what I had to do was redesign the main body of it because I found it had too much throw, so the lever was bottoming out on the panel before it was engaging in the slots on the side there. So I redesigned the slots just to make them a bit shorter, and then I cut it out of 5mm acrylic on my laser cutter instead of 3D printing it. But the rest of it is all as Carl designed it. So every panel now is fitted. The clock, I've got to build that up to make it working. Same with this one. This is just a dummy one fitted for now, but I do have plans to make them working. I'll just show you the back. So you can see where all the panels are bolted there with lock nuts. There's the annunciators for the gear panel. That cut out there is to let the backlighting through to the right and on the front. There we go, so that's where I am with my main panel. The next job that I'm now doing is to fit the bullnose part, which runs along the bottom here, ready for the angle piece to come out. And you can see that there's these locating tabs all along this panel, so I've had to allow for that. The way I'm doing that is I've got a piece of 12mm MDF by 20mm in thickness, or in width should I say, 12mm in thickness. And then what I've done is cut another bit exactly the same out of 6mm MDF, and then I've marked where those tabs are, and then I've cut it into individual pieces so I can then glue them, leaving a slot for the tab. And if I take this over here, you'll see that it's the same thickness, so it's gonna the other part will run quite nicely over the tabs, and that will help lock that panel in place as well. So that's the plan on that part. So I'm now going to glue and clamp all these parts together. Sorry about my ashtray. Glue and clamp all these parts together, and then once that's all dry, I can turn it over and run the router over it to give it the bullnose on the front. Then it's on to making the angle piece that comes off just below that, that has the lighting panels in it, which are here. So I've got jobs going on everywhere at the minute. Over here I've got a vent which I've just printed, so I need to clean that up and paint that. That's going to be working vent. I'm going to hook up some sort of fan to it. Over here is the foot air and windshield air panel, but I plan to make one of them working, which will switch on the fan, which will send the air out of there. So I've got a pull switch fitted to the back of that. So I've got to figure out a way to mount that. What else have I got going on? Over here, the ethos, which will be in a separate video, is progressing. I've got knobs being painted everywhere, clamped wherever I can set them up to dry. These are the annunciators that I'm waiting for the LEDs for. I've already fitted some LEDs, but little did I know that they're a completely different colour to the ones I'd already done. So I've got to drill them out and replace them. So yeah, that's everything that's going on at the moment. You can see I've got my dog and my kiddie's pool out there. And that's what I'm using to rip the wood down, and the chop saw set up there. Routers down there. And this lovely piece of equipment, which is getting lots of use at the moment. And a 3D printer. Made this pipe conversion to vent the hot air straight out through the bottom of the door. So it's absolutely lovely in here today. Okay, that's all for now. Right, so I'm just doing a quick mock-up on how the glare wings and the glare shield is going to attach to my MIP. And what I'm doing is I'm just using some temporary angle brackets that are hot glued on so that I can move it around as I need to try and find the right position. These glare wings are from GLB, and I'm having a bit of a hard time with them, to be honest. Being that I'm trying to sort of follow Kyle Clark's plans as a guide, nothing's working out, because this back part here that isn't on his main instrument panel, this doesn't seem to match up with the part that he made, which does the same job. And also this angle here doesn't match up with this angle here. The back angle is coming down too steep, and so I can't, it seems as though if I put a level on there, if I can get that to sort of balance and then try and give you some sort of visual from the front, you can see that it just doesn't match up. Sorry, I've got Flight Deck to Sim on in the background, and he's just come back from a break, so he's started talking again. I'll just pause him a minute. Yeah, so they're kind of giving me a bit of a headache at the moment. And also to get this bottom piece down low enough to be able to fit my EFIS and EFIS and MCP in, I've had to notch out over that part of the top panel. You can see it from underneath, just to be able to get it down low enough. This front end is just sort of floating around at the minute because I'm still trying to figure it out. I just wanted to kind of document where I'm at now with it, trying to figure out well, the angles really. Space wise, my MIP and my EFIS, both EFISes will fit in. This mark here is where the EFIS ends, so I've got, this will pull together like that. I've got 12mm at the end, and looking at the real aircraft, there is about a 12mm empty sort of space each side of the EFIS, so that's worked out okay. So what I plan to do is cut a bit of 12mm MDF to fit on the end here as an upright, to then be able to fit to this and then bolt to that to give that some good support. And then the upright will then have the angle cut on it to then support the flat piece that's coming up here. So that's kind of my thinking at the moment. And in fact, if I put the level on there, you can see how different these angles are. I'm not really sure where the angle is, about middle of the EFIS, isn't it? The downward part starts, so I need to figure out exactly where that's got to be. But I can't do any of that until I try and get this in at the right height to try and get the EFIS and the MCP low enough, because this flat piece will carry on going up and then it squares off sort of roughly there somewhere. Where it squares off at the back there is in way too far. If you look at pictures of the real Boeing, it's somewhere about here, sort of 3/4 of the way across the EFIS, halfway across the EFIS, something like that. So yeah, that's why I've decided just to temporarily try and fit this all in, so that I can give myself a visual mock-up of it before I start fixing permanently. So I think the next job is to try and weigh up this angle and how far this way it needs to carry on coming up at that angle before it then goes flat. Fun, fun, fun. Hello everybody, it's Ian here. Sorry for the quality. This is again taken on my phone. I'm not sure how it's going to come out, but I'm still too far away from where my computer is and my cameras are, so for now this is the only way I can update the videos all the way over here. But I've been working on the glare shield and glare wings, and I'll be honest, it's given me a bit of a headache, even though this should be the bit that's easiest to me, being that I'm a carpenter. But trying to sort of follow along with Carl's plans. I know you put a lot of work into them. The issue is my glare wings are from GLB in the UK, and they don't match up to the ones that Carl built. so everything around them doesn't match up to Carl's measurements, so I'm having to go my own way with angles and measurements, trying to figure everything out. But this is where I am at the moment. This bit here, I wish I'd have known that that was going to be too tall at an earlier stage, and you can see that I've had to really get in there and hack it off. There was just no access for me to try and cut that whatsoever, and this plastic does not like being cut with it was a skill saw. That was the only way I could get in there from the back. It really didn't like cutting. It was grabbing and chucking the saw out and everything. So I had to just get in there and do my best. It's not going to be seen, it's not used for anything. I've cut it lower than it needs to be just to get it out of the way, basically. But the angles here were completely different to this angle here. This, I'm not sure what the real one is, but this angle here is 8 degrees. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how that reflects into what the real one is. GLB say that these are an exact copy of the real one, although I think this is too small. So I'm not sure about that, but so what I've done is I've cut these parts in here, and they're bolted through. Obviously the head of this bolt I've had to sink into the wood, because that's where the ethos sits, and the other two are just on the surface. This panel here is just a dummy that I put in just to keep the shape while I'm working on it. Obviously the MCP and the ethos will fit there. You can see where I've drawn the ethos on here and how tight everything is. That's the full height of the ethos. So I don't know if this is not deep enough, but it was a real struggle to get everything to fit. And you can also see that the change in angle is not in the right place. It should be here somewhere, but I just can't make that happen with this angle here. So something is not right. I believe it's this, because that really should have run up at more of an angle, so that when it gets to about here, it then changes to a flat, which is about center of the ethos, which is where the real one changes angle. But you can see mine had to be on this line here is where the angle changes, so I shall just have to live with that. And I've used thinner timber than what Carl used, because I had to try and get the MCP to drop down enough, otherwise the change of angle would have been somewhere over here. So that was the most to the right I could get that change of angle. So this side I've sort of got clamped in place. You can see that to get the lip on the front here where the lights are going to fit under, I've had to do a strange cut around my glare wing there. And this at the moment is very flexible, so I need to make some sort of lip under here to lip under this and bring it up to the right height. It's perfect join there, and here it's not quite perfect. The MDF is sitting too high, so what I'm going to have to do is cut out a little bit along this edge of the plastic just to allow this to drop down further. And talking about trying to get the MCP at the right height, excuse me, under here you can see I've had to drop that bottom shelf under the glare wing, otherwise everything was going to be too high, which again points to these not being deep enough. But what I plan to do is, once I've finished building it, the glare wings and glare shield are all going to be one complete unit that I can remove if I need to. So what I'm going to do is blend these together with filler. So that I'll put filler in there and then I'll shape it so that they look like they flow into each other. And then these will all be painted. So yeah, you can see, start to see what a headache it's been trying to figure out how to get everything to fit. But I think we got there. So the angle here is per Carl's plans, and then they've each got a 4-degree back cut on them to total the 8-degree change in angle there. I haven't yet cut the final shape. This has got to be cut something like that and then back at an angle to meet up with the point at the back there. But I'm a bit reluctant to do that at the moment until I figure out the shape of the windows that have to sit in there and fix to the glare shields somehow. I mean, obviously with Carl's ones, his glare wings were made of timber, or MDF, layered up MDF, so he had something to fix to, whereas mine are completely hollow plastic. So I'm gonna have to put some sort of support in there somehow to give me something to fix the windows to. So what I might do is make this side the same as I have over there, and then perhaps build up a dummy window frame that I can sit on to see where it's going to finish here somewhere, and then I can then cut the two top pieces to the correct shape, and then add the support in at the back here, so it's a bit sort of make it up as you go along. I mean, none of this matters if it's not quite correct to Carl's plans. The bit that does matter is that part, the back angle, because like I said, that's where the windows have got to fit to. And if I don't get that right and the windows don't fit, then the window's not going to sit in the right place, and then that's going to mess up the rest of the sidewall fitting, etc. So trying to follow his plans as best as I can, and gonna probably cut another support to sit in the middle here somewhere, just to give it a bit of something, and then there'll be one probably fixed to the back of this, which will support the back under there. That is a proper hack job, that is. Well, you got to do what you can do. In hindsight, I wish I'd if I could go back in time, I would have run that through the table saw while it was still just a panel before I fixed it to the frame and everything. But it was a ridiculous amount of work to take that off. Everything would have had to come off the front there. it's just an insane amount of work and time just to get that off and run it through the saw. But that's where I'm at the moment. So next job is to make a mirror piece of that left to go over here, and then start figuring out how the windows are going to sit, and make the cuts to get the top of the glare shield to the right shape, and then go from there. Okay, so having drilled the hole in the centre of the knobs with the jig, it's now time to drill out the 2 holes for the grub screws. These cockpit SIM-part knobs are designed around a 3mm grub screw. So all I'm going to do is just with a Dremel with a 2.5mm drill bit in it, just going to run it down those holes, and what we're looking for is when you're holding the knob flat, it's more or less a 45-degree angle. So you're pointing in, trying to show it the best way I can. Pointing in an angle. There is a hole there that's sort of been filled in by the moulding process, so we're just looking to drill out that centre, and the hole should come through at the sort of towards the top end of our hole that we drilled. And one on the other side. Bit of a messy job. So there we go, there's the holes drilled ready for the grub screws. Once we've painted it all, and you might just be able to see possibly. I've come through about 5mm down from the top of the hole, so perfect. So next job is to give it a little bit of a scratch up. Camera's playing up again. There we go. Give the knob a little bit of a scratch up, and for that I just use this sort of, I don't know what it is, emery cloth type thing, just to take any shine off of the knob. Just aid in helping the paint stick. And just give the knob a look over as well, just in case there's any sort of moulding defects or lumps that need to be taken off. Oops. Once that's done, just give it a little bit of a clean. I use 99% alcohol, just sprayed on a bit of rag, just to take off any oils and crap that's on your hands, and any dust that was created from giving it a rub down. And that's it, that's that one ready for paint. If anybody's wondering, the paint I'm using is Humbrol enamel and it's satin 166. I do just give it a coat of grey primer first, and then 2 coats of the satin, and then finally a coat of high coat clear lacquer. I don't apply the lacquer until after I've put on the stripe, because then the lacquer seals it on. Hello everybody, welcome back to SimBuild UK. I know this is gonna be the next segment for you, but for me it's been a couple of months since I've been able to do anything on the sim. I don't want to bore you with the details, but I've got ME and I've had a bad run, just put it that way. But I'm starting to get out here again, and today I've just been sat at the desk sorting out my Bowen knobs. These are the knobs that you saw me drill in the previous video. They are the cockpit sim parts knobs. I've painted them in the Humbrol satin enamel 166, which as far as I can tell is about the right colour for the knobs. I know Bowen used a lot of different colours, but I like this colour. So the next job here, I've painted it, it's not been clear coated or anything yet. The grub screws are fitted. The next job is to put the pin striping on, the black and white pin striping that you see on the Bowen knobs. So I just thought I'd show you how I'm doing that. What I've done is, this is the mat from my plotter cutter. The one I use is called a Silhouette Studio. It's not very expensive, about 100 quid, I think, when I bought it a few years ago. And I've got some offcuts of black and white vinyl here. So what I've done is put the black down first, peeled the backing off the white and stuck the white to the black. And then basically I've designed some 3mm strips that I've then cut on the plotter, and now it's just a case of peeling them off. And want to make sure that I peel both the black and the white layers off. So you can see the bottom is the black layer with the white on top. And the easiest way I found of doing this is to stick it on as a whole piece, and then what I do is peel the white layer from around the outside, so it leaves then a black outside with a white stripe in the middle. The trickiest part of doing this is to get it lined up nice and straight, but you can peel it off and replace it as much as you need to. Doesn't look far out there. So if you're doing this the same as me, you'll find that at the top where it wraps round, it won't stick very well until you peel off the white layer. So what you use is a nice sharp scalpel knife and just get it between the black and white layer and start to peel it off. But you want to make sure you leave the white bit in the middle. It's not easy to do when you're someone like me who's got no nails, but you can use some tweezers if it makes it easier. So I've just peeled off the outer white layer, and now I can run my thumb over it nice and hard to make sure it's stuck down. I mean, even at this stage you could, if you felt it wasn't quite straight, it wasn't quite right, you can still lift it up and move it and put it back down again. But there we go. So you've got the white line continuing all the way down to the bottom, but on the top it stops with a 1mm border of black. So once that's done, the next job is just to apply a bit of clear coat, and what this does is A, protects your paint, and B, it puts a layer of clear coat over this new decal so that you can no longer feel it as a sticker. It'll be nicely blended in, and it will stop it from peeling up or anything like that. So the clear coat I'm using is called High Coat, and it's just a clear lacquer. I like this stuff because it's really quick drying. I mean, literally less than 10 minutes it will be dry and ready for the next coat. And unlike the clear coat I used in a previous video, this one doesn't seem to react with the paint. Saying that, I still keep the excuse me, I still keep the can a fair way back to give the gases a chance to evaporate before they hit the item that I'm spraying. So I do 3 coats of clear coat, really light coats, just a quick spray. That's it. So about 10 minutes I'll come back and hit that again with another coat, and then leave it for another 10 minutes and then come back again for the 3rd coat. While it's drying, just keep an eye on your pinstripes because they can start to lift. So when the clear coat starts to get tacky, what I normally do is just come back with a small tip screwdriver and just make sure that they're firmly pressed down, and once the clear coat dries they'll stay down permanently then. It's not every knob that they start to lift, but I've had a couple where I've just caught them lifting, so just keep an eye on it. And then once that's done, they're ready to fit to the main instrument panel. Hello everybody, it's Ian here from SimBuild UK. It's nice to be back at the desk again. I've been doing a lot of work over the other side of the room using my phone camera. It's been a bit of a pain, but there you go. I just thought I'd show you how I'm building up the chrono clock, whatever you want to call it. This is the faceplate that you get from Cockpit Sim Parts, and they supply some tinted screen and all the black buttons, and the same as in the FMC video, the little back pieces which your buttons are supposed to glue to, but in this instance I'm not using those back pieces because the little micro switches that I've fitted here are exactly the right length, so that by the time you get the front plate on like that, my black buttons when popped in there are just the right length to sit straight on top of that switch. So what I'll do is use one dot of glue on top of the switch, and then that'd be absolutely perfect. So I had to stop this project for a little while because I ran out of the micro switches. You can see the on the back I've just hot glued them in, nothing special. Same with the 7-segment displays, they're just hot glued in as well, they're not going to go anywhere. And I've wired them to a max board. Pretty simple, just fiddly. Also the front plate, I've just gone around the edge and tacked it with some glue so that stays fixed to that in the right place. And then when it comes to fitting, this whole thing goes in from behind the panel, and then you have 4 bolts go through the front of the panel, and that's what holds it in place. So next job, I've just got my new box of micro switches, tactile ones. So next job is to fit the remaining 4 switches, and then I'll come back to you once they're fitted, and we'll fit the tinted glass, put the front on, fix that on, do the buttons, and then that's job done and we can get it fitted. This is the captain side clock. The first officer side is already done and fitted. I'll see you in a bit. Just as a little side note, I bought this multi-pack of switches, and for this clock I used all of one kind. So what I thought I'd do is order just a pack of the ones I wanted. So I had a quick measure up. This is the kind that I'm using, and the actual button part, the knobbly bit here, was 6mm from the base here to the end here. So I went on the old interweb and I ordered 100 switches, 6x6, which is the base size, by 6, which is the knob size. Wrong. This is what got delivered, 100 of them. So if you're looking into these switches, the measurements include the depth of the base as well. So 6x6x6 is the width this way, by the width up and down, by the height including the base. So this switch is 6mm from the very bottom to the very top. So I've now got 100 of them that I don't need because I wasn't sure how they were measured. So anyone in who wants to know the actual size of the switch I'm using for this clock, it will be 6x6 by 9. So I hope that saves someone from making the same mistake I did. Right, I've just finished fitting the last 4 switches in, and a little tip I want to show you is for the common ground. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but just here you can see that I've bent the prongs together. So basically I can solder those 2 prongs to link those 2 switches together. So what I intend to do, I'm trying to get it in the right place here, it's been a while since I've been at the desk, sorry. I will run a ground into this prong here, then these 2 will be soldered together, so that will transfer the ground through to this switch, And then I'll then run a wire from this prong over to this prong here, and these two are linked, and then a wire from this prong across to this one, and so on right the way round. So it just saves on a bit of wiring, because on these switches the prongs are in pairs, so the opposites are the same pin. So this prong here and this prong here are the same pin, so you can link them together. So this one here and this one here are your signal, and this one here and this one here are your ground. All the other way around, it doesn't really matter, but I've chose to run the ground around the inside of the switches. And then I'll just need to run one signal wire to each button. Well, here we go. Here's the captain's clock all finished. I did attempt to film me fitting the last button, but like a numpty, I didn't click record properly, so once I'd done it I realised that it hadn't recorded it. So basically all I did was fitted the clear plexiglass bit with the grey bit attached. I fitted it to the white bit and just put two dots of glue just to tack it in place. You don't have to glue this because the bolts that go through the front will pin everything together, but I like to have it glued. Just two little dots, so if I need to get it apart I can. But if you are going to glue it, make sure that you clean the back of this plexiglass, and make sure you clean the two tinted displays, because once it's sealed together you can't get to them, so you want to make sure that there's no fingerprints. To do that I just use, oh, here's another tip for you, glass cleaner. This stuff is fantastic, and it's about 25p a bottle. Star Drops. I get it from the local B&M, but really good stuff. So yeah, just gave him a wipe over with that and fitted it all in place. And then with the black buttons, what I do is down the middle of the hole you can see the top of the micro switch. Just put one drop of glue on the top using this stuff. It's medium thickness, so it doesn't run. It will just sit on top of your button, and then you just drop in the black part and just move to the next one while that sets. That's another good reason for having this tacked together, just to make sure that nothing moves, because you don't want anything to move and you get binding. You can see that all my switches have a nice click. So that's the clock chrono now done for the captain's side. So next job is to fit it in the panel and get it up and running with SimVim. There's another note there, SimVim doesn't currently support the chrono part of the clock. You can get the time working, but the chrono at the moment just sits at 0. It doesn't work. But I'm going to wire it for SimVim in the hope that he'll fix it soon. I have let him know about it, so hopefully that's on the list of things to do. If he doesn't, then it will be a slight rewiring job to use it with either MobiFlight or Air Manager, whichever one I find easiest to get it working with. I have had a little fiddle with Air Manager, but I don't like scripting. I'm not very good at it. I did manage to get it working a little bit with regards to the time, but I find it very fiddly and time consuming to try and figure out what the script should be. So probably if I have to go the rewire route, I shall go with MobiFlight. but like I said, I'll keep it wired for SimVim for now, because my simulator's not functional yet, so it can stay like that in the hope that he'll fix it soon. So I've been working on the captains and first officers fire warning and master caution panels. This one I made myself. I'm not entirely happy with it, but it's okay. I did it on my laser cutter, but it seemed to have a bit of an issue with the engraving. But I'll see how it looks when it lights up. I haven't got it wired up yet, so I'll put the LEDs in and see how it looks. If not, back to the drawing board on that. But what I want to show you today is what I've come up with for doing the master caution. I've just cut this yellow, sort of frosted yellow 3mm acrylic on my laser cutter. It's a really nice fit inside. These are Carl Clark's master caution switches, by the way. If you want details on how these all go together, just watch his video. You know, it's his design. Watch his video on how it's all put together. But they work great. So I've just finished cutting this out on my plotter, vinyl plotter and cutter. So we're going to have a go at trying to keep them letters all together while sticking it to that, and I hope that once I've stuck this whole square piece to the yellow panel, which you can't see because my camera's being a numpty, oh the joys. Okay, sorry about that, bit of a camera issue there, but it seems to be working now. Yeah, what I'm hoping to do is to stick this whole square onto the yellow and then try and pull most of the square away and just leave the writing that's being cut out in the middle there. You can just about see it. That's the plan anyway, so I think it's going to be a bit of a tricky one, but you don't know until you try these things, do you? So first task is to pull the backing off without leaving any of the letters behind. So that's the middle of the O, so that's not a problem because that would have to be picked off anyway. Okay, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. Now the next task is to try and line it up and get it straight. I'm sorry if my head's getting in the way. Okay, that doesn't seem too bad. Right, so now I'm gonna push fairly hard on where the letters are. Let's try and make sure that they stick. Before I came on camera, I gave the yellow square just a wipe over with alcohol just to try and clean it, make sure there was no dust or oil or anything. Okay, so that's firmly stuck on there. Like I said, don't worry about the middle of the O because I would have to pick that off anyway. Right, let's have a go at picking off the backing. Hey, that's not looking too bad so far. So I'll have to pick the middle of the A and the R out. Oops, we're losing our N. Right, let's try that from a different. Oh. I'm sorry if you didn't see any of that. I've just noticed that my camera's gone blurry again. I've lost my T. Just the R being a bit of an issue on the reset. I think they got it. Well, hey. Just make sure they're all. That doesn't look too bad, does it? I'll just pick out the middle of the A's and the R and the O and Of course, this is tongue out work, this is. Always more steady when you got your tongue hanging out. There we go, what do you think? Passable? Come on, camera. There we go. That doesn't look too bad, does it? I'm quite happy with that. Probably not the right font, but I don't know what the actual Bowen font is supposed to be. It looks like I've got a... Just looking at the M of master, it looks like I've got a fat side on it. So I don't know if there's another bit I need to pick off there. Not really sure what's going on with that. I think that bit is possibly not quite cut properly. I can't see anywhere that I need to pick. I'll just have to live with the slightly fat side on the M, I think. But there we go. We'll give the fire warning one a go as well. Obviously that will be in printed on a white background, and that'll be the same thing. So I'll do that now and come back and show you how that looks when it's finished. Okay, I just finished doing the fire warning and extremely happy with that too. I had a bit of an issue. Be careful how I say this. The A-hole, it was exactly that. If somebody does know what the correct font is for these, I'd be interested to know. I've just guessed at something that was a bit close, but I don't think it is what I've picked. I can't remember what I've picked now, but these will do for starters. There's both of them together. And if I pop one in its housing, you can see what it's going to look like. Okay, go in there, something like that. So yeah, pretty neat, cheap little fire warning. I'm guessing the overall cost of this to make was, I don't know, £1. The whole back box and all the gubbins are 3D printed. Just a couple of LEDs in there and a tactile push switch in there, and that's it. Maybe a little bit more than £1, £1.50, but certainly a lot cheaper than what you can buy them on the interweb anyway.